I'm Mira and I am the label manager of ECC 100 Records, which is our vinyl record label. We're at Folk on the Quay, and the reason we're so excited is that we are a very tiny label and we're based in Poole. So being able to bring our acts down here and show the townsfolk kind of what we're up to has been really awesome. We're really excited to be here. We began with bringing musicians into Lush to help us develop our spa treatments, and following that we realised a lot of the musicians were frustrated. They couldn't get their releases out, or they wanted to just do music but they couldn't afford to, and they were having to do music they were being paid to do. So Mark had the idea to put out some records, to be the label and help these musicians that we loved to put out their own stuff.
ECC Records is myself and Simon Emerson. He's great because he's sort of like a band leader, and he brings in all sorts of talent, and it's really nice to work with him.
We're really building it up from a community-based approach, doing community-based festivals, loads of great little indie festivals out there. So it reminds me a little bit like it was in 1977 when I started, and we had a very fierce, independent spirit, and that's always been there in folk music and in trad music. And it's kind of there in Lush as well, because Lush started as a small family-run company around the corner from here.
We brought down 4 of our acts. We brought down Rosie, Doonan and Ben Murray, who are very old-time folk musicians. It's you that keeps me in the cold. Ben used to be in a band called Taras about 1 billion years ago, and Rosie has been in her family band, the Doonans. Both have very successful solo careers, and they got together when they were younger as a duet, a double act, and they're back here after 8 years together again.
We always have some kind of connection to the songs that we do, whether we learnt them from our dads, who went to school together and who played in bands for years. Well, I've known Rosie since she was a little baby, basically. I'm a little bit older, although I don't look it. Yeah, so the songs always have some kind of meaning. So we'll just, dig around and do some research and pick a collection of songs that we feel represent where we are.
We brought down Jackie Oates, who has sung on many projects with us, from Lush spa treatments to her own albums, of which we put out 3 on ECC. She's amazing, a fantastic clear-voiced folk singer.
When he went for to make his will, all he had left was a little old mill, and the sun comes up and the sun comes down to mark a brand new day.
I am mainly a traditional singer, and I've learned a lot of my ballads and songs from travelling around the southwest and looking in old manuscripts and old recordings and finding ballads and reinventing them and unearthing them. This area of Dorset is very rich in its folk tradition and its audience, and it's just a lovely way to do some memory making and enjoy the summer.
We also brought down the amazing Lox, who has a really beautiful acoustic style of singing, and once again we kind of met her through her collaborations with Lush. Specifically, the first thing she did with us was like a hair care video with like a magical animation, and everyone loved the animation, but her voice just pulled a billion heartstrings.
Or do you see me stepping in and in between the dread to keep me cool, keep me cool?
We kind of play very dark, almost anti-folk music. It's very jaunty, a bit Nick Cave and Tom Waits-esque. Lots of stopping and starting in between all the songs and things like that. Anything that sounds a bit disjointed and a bit kind of off-key is kind of how we like to play.
Finally, we've also had Barney from Duotone performing. He is basically one man with 500 instruments. So he starts out very simply, and by the end of his set he has about 20 different sounds happening through his loops and pedals, and he's singing, and it was amazing. The whole crowd was just like cheering. They loved him.
Well, I'm a classically trained cellist, and I've been working under the name of Duotone for about 10 or so years. overall, I think the show's been really well received, and to see one person creating a much bigger, a big sound, and people are still a little bit bemused as to how it's done. So it's quite nice to be able to showcase the cello, certainly in a new light.
Just to be at a festival where some of the acts you've worked with are such a part of the lineup, it's just felt really special. And watching all of our artists playing live in their element, in their folk element, it just kind of gives that feeling of tradition and storytelling to what we're doing, and we're part of, folk history and pool history now, which is amazing.